What's up? Welcome back to another video here on the FanTC Podcast Network YouTube page. We are celebrating day 4 of the 45 days of mock drafts here today. On this video, we are recording Thursday night, so obviously if any news drops between now and what will be Saturday, could affect the mock draft a little bit, but enjoy the video, enjoy the mock draft. We're going to be drafting out of the 9 spots today. We're going to be doing a 1 QB, switching it back from what we did yesterday, but we're switching it up. We're going to do full point per reception. We're going to do 3 wide receivers and 2 flex. So this is another roster and settings to kind of set up a league of mine that I will be drafting in here in a little over a month. So just want to get that practice in. Again, hopefully we kind of get some different players being on the back end of the draft as opposed to the front end where we've been for the first couple. But let's jump right into it. Let's go ahead and get it done. Enjoy the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with friends, family, anybody who's into fantasy football. We're going to be posting so much content on this page, it's going to destroy YouTube. So make sure to share it with everyone. So let's get into it real quick. Let's see what we can do on day 4 of our 45 days of mock drafts. All right. So obviously full point per reception and 3 wide receivers. So we're going to see a lot of value out of the wide receiver room today. There we go. Obviously, even though it's 3 wide receiver, having a solid running back room is always super nice. For me, there's a running back that I specifically want. I know that I can get in the second round just based on the fact that it's only 2 picks and his ADP is a little bit lower than the rest of these guys. But for me, I want CeeDee Lamb. He's a potential top 5 wide receiver. And then I want a guy who I think has an unlimited ceiling at the running back position, maybe the best in the NFL, and that's Nick Chubb. And that's how we're going to be starting out this league. Obviously, in full point per reception, Saquon's going to have a little bit more hype because of his catching ability. I think Nick Chubb's getting involved in the passing game this year. I think Nick Chubb for the RB1. I honestly, in my opinion, when I'm in this back half of the draft, the 1-2 turn, I love getting Nick Chubb there. If he even falls down further in the draft and you could get him towards 2-3 like he does historically, that would be amazing. I don't think that's happening this year with no Kareem Hunt and more talk of him being involved in the passing game, but definitely something to keep a lookout for. All right, so we come into this position. Devontae Smith and DK Metcalf. It's been a decision I've had to make multiple times already today. I like both the guys quite a bit. Again, in this position, I'm going to go Devontae Smith over DK. Not too much to do with the players, just has to do with the fact that I just love Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. Did not notice Chris Olave was still available. Chris Olave would be in that conversation there with Devontae Smith. Those two guys are pretty close to me. Chris Olave obviously has the higher upside, having the opportunity to be the overall wide receiver 1 for his team and number 1 target getter, whereas Devontae Smith's going to have a little bit more trouble filling that role to that extent. So Olave and then Joe Burrow, so it's going to give us an opportunity to get DK if we really want him. Najee, Travis Etienne, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, all of these guys I don't really mind, but I'm just not in love with. Again, with it being 3 wide receiver, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to shoot on the upside of DK Metcalf. I love the fact that he fell to me. I wish Chris Olave would have, now that I realize he was still on the board. That would have been a nice, but you see the running back room just basically go to nothing. You knew that run was coming. All righty. Where are we at? 5-6 turn. We got 3 wide receivers. It's always nice in these 3 wide receiver leagues to knock out at least a good starting group of wide receivers. You already know who your boy is looking at in the running back room. Miles Sanders is looking sweet on the other half of this turn, so I think I can probably lean another wide receiver if I want to. Where is Trevor Lawrence currently going? Ooh, Justin Herbert's still out there. Fits a little sweet, though, for me. I think I'm going to go another wide receiver here. I know in day 3 I was on the Christian Kirk side, but I like the value of Calvin Ridley here in full point per reception, man. I think that he could potentially be a big-time difference maker. Let's see here. I would have loved to draft Justin Herbert if I was stacking him with somebody. I think I would do it here. I mean, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is making it back to me either, even if I wanted him. But I want to go ahead and solidify that running back room. And I'm getting the guy, I'm pretty sure I'm 4 for 4 on drafting Miles Sanders now on the fourth day of the 45 days of mock drafts. Absolutely love drafting him. I've got him on the front end. Now I'm getting him on the back end. It just seems to be just an all-time value piece for me this mock drafting season. All right, let's see where we're at. Oh my goodness, one pick away from Trevor Lawrence. There's no way they were going to let me pair him up with Calvin Ridley. Shout out to the AI for ripping my heart out there. That would have been sweet. Okay, running back room. James Conner sticks out. Rashad White, I'm a little bit higher on than I have been as of recently. I think he does have potential in Tampa Bay to do something. It's just their offensive line was so bad. I don't know if it's really getting that much better. And of course, now Baker's there, which even Baker is a downgrade from what Tom Brady was last year. A huge downgrade is what I meant to say. Then Mike Williams, Tyler Lockett, Mike Evans, Deontay. So we're kind of in that wide receiver range. I'd love to grab Traylon, but I've grabbed him a lot. It's reaching at this point. I got to go Connor. He would be in a tier above the rest of them. If you look at Connor's stats towards the end of last year, he was very, very good for the Arizona Cardinals, and there's just really not going to be anyone there to take targets from him. Okay. I mean, at this point now, we're in the 8th round, and I get an opportunity to get a guy like Mike Williams. And when I look at my wide receiving core, I mean, DK, Devontae, CD's stacked, Calvin's nice. Like, I could take the shot on a guy like a Mike Williams or a Mike Evans who was just taken before him here. And now I'm not reliant on him in the wide receiving core. He is just kind of a flex piece, a potential bench piece, plug and play guy during bye weeks. Love that for Mike Williams. Last year, drafted him maybe a little bit too much to be a guy that I needed to rely on and did not love him in that position very much. All right, Jordan Addison's the guy they're telling us to take here. Don't mind that. I do love the opportunity that you're getting in Minnesota with Jordan Addison. Only question is just, with rookie wide receivers, drafting them is a good way just to get them on your team, but you're kind of pot committed because you don't want to be the guy that drops Garrett Wilson, which I may have done. Maybe last year. I hope I didn't, but I think I may have dropped Garrett Wilson last year after the week 1 or week 2. Can't remember, but you don't want to be that guy, so you're kind of pot committed if you're drafting a rookie this early. Who's a guy that could come in and I could feel something immediately? That's Kadarius Toney to me. I feel like in week 1, if he is not involved in the offense, I know that I cannot probably trust him on a long-term basis. And if I can see him being involved in multiple facets, then he's a guy I know that I can keep on my fantasy team. So I'm going to go ahead and grab him here. Not in love with any running backs, and I'm hoping A-Chain maybe falls back to me. The tight end position, I'm going to shoot for upside here and just go ahead and snag David Njoku. I think he is a more developed version than what we're seeing from Chig Okonkwo. And I mean, Chig would probably be my late round guy. So right now, where I'm not in love with any of the running backs or wide receivers who are on the board, I'm more than happy to go ahead and just grab Njoku. Wow, Tua fell below Prescott and Richardson. That is interesting. For me, this one's pretty easy. I'm taking Devon A-Chain. I mean, now once I get A-Chain of Chubb, Sanders, Connors, and A-Chain as my running back core, I can maybe look to add someone, but those 4 guys are going to be super solid for me, especially in these 3 wide receiver leagues. Now I can, take 2 more shots at wide receivers later in the draft. Kirk Cousins goes off the board. That leaves us Aaron Rodgers, Geno, Jared, Russell. Like, when I'm down to this point, I'm okay with who comes back to me, even if it is one of those lower guys. We're deep into the streaming category at this point. So let's see, where did he go? Zay Flowers went right here. So Zay Flowers would be the number 1 wide receiver out of Baltimore that I would want as well. Obviously, outside of Mark Andrews, who's the tight end. That was a stupid comment to make. But I would clearly want Rashad Bateman over Odell Beckham Jr., not only long-term, but this year as well. So I'm going to grab myself Rashad Bateman and just kind of, like I said, keep that shotgun approach in the wide receiver room, and hopefully, I get a solid 3 to 5 guys that I feel good with. All right. So since that pick, Geno, Rodgers, and Daniel Jones all off the board. This is pretty simple for me. Give me Russell Wilson. Let's get a resurgent Russell Wilson season. Second to last pick in the draft. Basically, maybe could have made it to the last pick since he already had Kirk Cousins and Joe Burrow. Probably played the ADP game wrong, but I wasn't going for Mingo or Dulcich anyway. So either way you look at it, I'm not too upset about that. Devin Singletary in Houston. Don't love the Houston situation very much this year. Kendre Miller is a guy that you could draft if you think something can happen there. You still got Rashee Rice, Romeo Dobbs. Yeah, I'm going to go Dobbs and just kind of complete my shotgun approach. I already got Kadarius Toney from the Chiefs, so I don't need to draft another Chiefs guy. Don't really want a wide receiver 3 with a bad quarterback. Adam Thielen's kind of old. Let's go Romeo. I'm loving this team. I think that I've really built a pretty solid team here on day 4. Let the draft finish out. All right. Oh, wrong way. Go. So our quarterback, we're already throwing some question marks out there. It's Russell Wilson. If he has a resurgent season, he's moving around a little bit more. I think he could go back and be a valuable fantasy asset for your team, especially getting him with the last couple picks in your draft. In the running back room, you have Nick Chubb, a guy I think could be the one running back 1, even in full PPR settings. Miles Sanders, James Conner, Devon Achane. We got a lot of balance there with a really big upside playing Devon Achane later. CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Smith, DK Metcalf, Calvin Ridley, Mike Williams, Kadarius Toney, Rashad Bateman, Romeo Dobbs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide receivers. Now, that is a lot of wide receivers. I will not lie about that, but I think in this position where you have 3 wide receivers, you got to start 2 flexes. You really got to shotgun the wide receiver approach and get as many guys on the roster as possible. And I think when you build a solid running back core like I did early, you're able to do that. And then obviously Njoku is going to be our tight end. So I'm pretty pumped about that team. I think that's probably my favorite team so far. I think I've said that after I've ended each video, but I'm ecstatic about it. I think drafting from the 11th spot, if you were to leave a draft with those players, I think you're ending the season pretty happy. So that's going to wrap up day 4. Again, appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe. We got 41 more days of mock drafts coming out. So make sure you're ready for your fantasy football draft. We'll have, and also, by the time this comes out, one of the podcasts will already be out on video, but Nick and I are going to get back into the podcast a lot more as well as we're preparing for the fantasy season. So we're going to have video, we're going to have audio, it's going to be mock drafts, going to be just fantasy talk all the time. So make sure to check it out. Share, like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you do follow the podcast, give us some 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Those always help us out quite a bit as well. That way, when you search FanTC, we are the first one to pop up. That would be huge. So peace out. Appreciate the love. See ya.